names whispered only after midnight. Bear Lake Summer Camp was one of those places. And the moment Chloe Armstrong stepped out of that SUV, the woods were already watching her. A sheriff cruiser rolled slowly through the fog, not rushing, not concerned, like it had been waiting for her. The sheriff smiled, but something about his eyes felt wrong. Too calm, too familiar with fear. By midnight, Chloe sat at the edge of the lake beside him. The water was perfectly still. No insects, no wind, just silence. The kind of silence that feels alive. The sheriff told her the story locals never say out loud about Donnie Bilson, the giant boy who lived near the camp, bullied, humiliated, burned. And one night, he came back wearing a burlap sack over his ruined face. Nobody survived Bear Lake after that. At least, that's what the town claimed. Then Chloe saw it. Something moving under the lake, not swimming, watching. A shape just beneath the surface, tracking them from below. The sheriff laughed it off, but his hand never left his holster. And when he led Chloe toward the abandoned cabins, his flashlight shook, just slightly. The cabin smelled like mildew, rust, and old secrets. Dust covered the bunk beds, children's names still scratched into the walls, like everyone vanished overnight. Then Chloe found the photographs, teenagers from decades ago, smiling at the lake, smiling beside the cabins. Some faces scratched out completely, others circled in red ink. The sheriff started ranting about the town, about lies, about people getting what they deserved. His voice got louder, sweat rolled down his face, and Chloe realized something horrifying. This man didn't come here to protect anyone. Then came the footsteps, heavy, slow, deliberate, circling the cabin, not hiding, hunting. A shadow crossed the window, huge, broad shoulders, a hanging machete, a stitched burlap mask. The sheriff froze, because he recognized it too. The lantern exploded. Darkness swallowed the room instantly. Then came breathing, deep, animalistic breathing. Right beside them, a machete tore through the wall. Wood exploded everywhere. The sheriff fired blindly into the dark. But the thing inside that cabin didn't stop moving. And then Chloe saw him, Donnie Bilson, 7 feet tall, drenched in lake water, wearing filthy overalls and that horrifying sack mask. Not a ghost, something worse, something real. The sheriff emptied his revolver, screaming, but Donnie kept walking, slowly, like bullets meant nothing anymore. Then suddenly, silence. The sheriff collapsed, blood spreading across the floorboards, and Donnie just stood there, staring at Chloe, not attacking, watching. That's when she ran, throwing herself through the cabin window into the storm, glass slicing her arms, mud soaking her clothes. Behind her, Donnie roared. She sprinted across the abandoned campground, past rusted swings, dead campfires, rotting cabins. And behind her, those heavy footsteps never got faster, because they didn't need to. Chloe burst into the reception building, broken trophies covered in dust, children's drawings peeling from walls, and somewhere downstairs, glass shattered. He was inside. She grabbed the emergency phone. Nothing, no signal, no dial tone, just static, like the camp itself was dead. Then she heard it. Thump, thump, thump. Heavy footsteps climbing the stairs slowly, not rushing, enjoying the chase. She hid beneath an old bed in the manager's office, barely breathing, dust sticking to her skin. And then she found a box of old photographs hidden underneath. One photo changed everything. A teenage girl standing beside the lake decades earlier. That girl was Chloe's mother. Suddenly, the mattress exploded above her. Donnie's machete slammed inches from her face. Stuffing filled the air, and Chloe realized something terrifying. He could have killed her already, but he wasn't trying to. He cornered her against the wall, towering over her, breathing heavily through the stitched mask. The machete hovered above her head, then slowly lowered, almost gently. Donnie stared at the photograph, then back at Chloe, and for the first time, she saw something behind the monster's eyes. Recognition. Her mother and the counselors had tortured him, and Bear Lake paid the price. The massacre wasn't random, it was revenge. One long night of blood and terror buried by the town for decades. And Chloe understood the worst part. The town knew, the sheriff knew, everyone knew, but nobody warned her. They sent her there anyway. Donnie lowered the machete completely, then stepped aside, letting her live. Why? Chloe didn't know. And honestly, that was scarier. Before sunrise, Donnie disappeared into the woods beside the lake, like the forest swallowed him whole. But Chloe could still feel him watching. By morning, police flooded Bear Lake, questions everywhere, yellow tape everywhere. But nobody looked surprised, almost like this had happened before. Then Chloe noticed something disturbing. Officers laughing quietly while sealing evidence bags, looking at photographs from the camp, like they'd seen them before too. Inside the ambulance, Chloe stared blankly ahead, still hearing footsteps, still smelling lake water, still feeling those eyes watching her through the trees. But home didn't feel safe anymore. Not after Bear Lake, not after what she learned about the town, and definitely not after the way her stepfather looked at her. Every conversation felt rehearsed, every adult felt connected, like the entire town shared one giant secret, and Chloe had accidentally survived it. That night she couldn't sleep, because every shadow in her room looked like a burlap mask, and every creak in the house sounded like footsteps. Finally, her mother confessed the truth. The camp cover-up, the fire, the murders, and one final warning. Donnie never forgets. From that night forward, the lake kept calling to her, and sometimes she swore she could see Donnie standing behind her reflection. Weeks later, Chloe returned to Bear Lake alone. The dock creaked beneath her feet, fog rolled across the water, and deep within the trees, a massive silhouette watched silently, waiting, because some places don't let you leave, and some monsters never really die. If you heard footsteps outside your cabin tonight, would you look out the window or pretend you heard nothing? Subscribe and don't come back to Bear Lake alone.